Hello, friends. I'm back. This time with a much more serious subject than I have addressed before. And really, this episode, um, in this episode, I will detail just what I'm doing here. Of course, I'm sure the question arises in anyone's mind when someone in their mid 30s starts posting online. Is this just a vanity project? Um, well, yes, partly. No one who wears a tie alone in their own home can say otherwise. But really, what I'm here to do is to express myself and by doing so, participate in what I consider to be the great human struggle against inhumanity. The inhumanity of technology and over-culturalization. That's a big word, I know, it's a mouthful. And I don't know if anyone's ever said it before, but I'll explain what I mean. And I'll need to refer to this book to do so. The Evolution of Civilizations, An Introduction to Historical Analysis by Carroll Quigley. Carroll Quigley was such an accomplished individual that it's hard to list these accomplishments off the top of one's head, certainly for me. He served in the Admiralty, the United States Admiralty during World War II as a junior officer. He graduated Harvard, I believe. It's either Harvard or Princeton, but he was dean. Went on to be a professor of history and a dean at Georgetown, I believe. But he was all over so many Ivy League schools that it's hard to even keep track of where he was. But he wrote this book, and it should be considered required reading by anyone who wants to really grasp the world they live in and how the world is formed. I'll review this book in its entirety one day, but for now, I am going to use it to refer to just a small part, and this will give you an idea of just how incredibly enlightening this text is. I'm going to refer to chapter 3 on the chapter is called Man and Culture. And in chapter 3, Carroll Quigley draws a diagram on one of these pages, and I'll show it to you in a moment. When I saw this diagram, it was astounding to me even then, and it's how profound it is continues to grow in my mind. So first off, he makes the observation that society equals humans plus culture. Okay, pretty astounding. But then he draws this beautiful diagram here. And in it, he shows what separates humans from every other organism we have ever encountered. And that thing is culture. Every other animal in the world, in existence, as far as we know, has no cultural separation between themselves and their natural environment. And culture is many things taken together. Language, clothing, technology, systems of belief, everything humans have created is culture. And I'll discuss this book more in the future, of course, but in short, what I believe the great struggle right now for humanity is reining in our culture, which would require reining in our appetites. Because what has happened is, of course, people recognize that, culture has developed to such a point that it is pushing out against the natural environment. Of course, we see this on the news and in the weather reports all the time. Of course, some people debate whether humans have an effect on the climate change, but I think we certainly have an effect on the environment. Plastic in the oceans and on beaches that have never been inhabited by a single human. So yes, our culture is pushing out against our environment. But what is very often much less considered, is how it is pushing in against our humanity. That is crushing us. I think the biggest issue right now is the very device I'm recording with, a smartphone. There are such separations. And more than that, we realize at an instinctual level, many people, that the old systems are corrupt. One of the features of this modern technology is that we were able to see all of these things that have happened before by these power structures that for so long did hold together society. There have been cataclysms before, which, the fall of the Roman Empire, and the Catholic Church preserved that, of course. But now we have found out that we're finding mass graves in Canada, and of course the issues with child predation in the church. And that's just not to pick on Catholics or anything. I'm from a Roman Catholic family. I've gone to mass and things like that. But it makes it difficult to rely on these things and to go back to them. So what am I doing here? What does this apply to what I'm saying? What I'm trying to do with this channel is just participate and just to use this technology against itself in a way. To, instead of separating me from everyone else, using it to connect. I'm a single guy in my mid-30s, no kids. I sit around reading a bunch. It's gotten to a point where I feel like it would just be selfish. I'm just bottled up. So I've got to express myself and communicate these ideas that I've formed. If you keep watching this channel, I would like to discuss very soon for things like what the Hindus call the Parashutras, which are the four basic aims of human life, which everyone should study from a young age. Art, history, culture. The darker parts of history, by the way, I'm very drawn to that. It just is what it is. But yeah, I want to talk about these things. Because I very often post links of these videos on my private social media. If I tag you in this, then that means that believe me, it is not just a cheap attempt for views and proliferation. No, I really want to know what you think about whatever I'm talking about. Because I'm not just here to, I'm here to learn, I'm here to be on this journey and try to be human in a world that is increasingly inhuman by design. Humans were born to be more than just obedient consumers. Have a good night.